Well, hello there, family. Welcome back to Grandma's Kitchen. Today we're making a dessert that holds a special place in soul food baking, Sock It To Me cake. This is a butter cake with a cinnamon streusel swirl running through the middle, topped with a sweet glaze, and it's absolutely irresistible. But this isn't just any cake recipe. This is Grandma's secret weapon cake, the cake she made for the Spring Church Bake Sale of 2003. The cake that finally, after 10 years of trying, beat Sister Thompson's legendary coconut cake and won first place. And while this cake is baking in the oven, filling the kitchen with the smell of butter, cinnamon, and vanilla, I'm going to tell you about the 10-year friendly rivalry between Grandma and Sister Thompson, about the art of gracious competition, and about the year Grandma finally won and what she did with that victory. This isn't just about baking a cake. This is about persistence, about friendly competition that builds community instead of tearing it down, and about winning with grace. Before we start baking, I need to tell you about the annual Spring Bake Sale at Greater Mount Zion Baptist Church, because this event was serious business in our community. Every year in May, the women's ministry would hold a bake sale to raise money for various church programs: youth ministry, community outreach, building maintenance, whatever the church needed that year. Women would spend weeks preparing their best baked goods. And on Bake Sale Day, the fellowship hall would be transformed into a showcase of Southern baking excellence. There were pies of every kind: sweet potato, pecan, apple, lemon meringue, chocolate cream. There were cakes, pound cakes, layer cakes, sheet cakes, bundt cakes. There were cookies, brownies, banana pudding, cobblers, and every other dessert you could imagine. Everything was homemade, everything was delicious, and everything sold out within hours because the whole community would come out to support the church and get some incredible baked goods. But the bake sale wasn't just about raising money. It was also, though nobody said it out loud, a competition. Women took pride in their baking, and they wanted their items to sell out first, wanted people to seek out their desserts specifically, wanted to be known for making the best whatever it was. There was no official judging, no prizes, no formal competition structure. But everyone knew which items sold first, which baker's table got the longest line, whose cake got the most compliments. And for 10 years running, from 1993 to 2002, Sister Thompson's coconut cake was the undisputed champion of the bake sale. Her coconut cake was legendary, a towering 3-layer white cake with coconut cream frosting and shredded coconut covering every surface. So beautiful, it looked like something from a bakery magazine. So delicious that people would literally run to her table when the sale opened to make sure they got a slice before it sold out. Sister Thompson was a sweet woman, very kind, very humble, but she knew her coconut cake was special. She'd smile modestly when people praised it, but you could see the pride in her eyes. That cake had become part of her identity in the church. She was Sister Thompson who makes that amazing coconut cake. Grandma respected Sister Thompson's cake. She admitted it was delicious. But after 10 years of watching that coconut cake win every bake sale, after 10 years of bringing her own excellent desserts only to see them overshadowed by Sister Thompson's cake, Grandma decided that 2003 was going to be different. This was the year she was going to bring something so special, so irresistible, so perfectly executed that it would finally dethrone the coconut cake. She chose Sock It To Me cake. It's a Southern classic, a butter cake with a cinnamon sugar nut filling swirled through the middle and a sweet glaze on top. The name comes from the phrase, "sock it to me," which was popular slang in the 1960s, meaning "give it to me" or "hit me with it." Basically, this cake was supposed to be so good it would sock you with flavor. It was impressive, it was delicious, and Grandma had a recipe she'd been perfecting for years. Let me show you how to make it. We're starting with the cake batter. This is a butter cake, which means it's rich, tender, and flavorful. I'm preheating my oven to 350 degrees and greasing and flouring a bundt pan thoroughly. Bundt pans have all those ridges and details, so you need to make sure every surface is greased or the cake will stick. In a large bowl, I'm creaming together 1 cup of softened butter with 2 cups of granulated sugar. I'm using a hand mixer on medium-high speed, and I'm beating this for about 5 minutes until it's light, fluffy, and pale yellow. This creaming process incorporates air into the batter, which helps the cake rise and gives it a tender texture. Don't rush this step. Proper creaming is crucial for a good butter cake. Now I'm adding 4 large eggs, one at a time, beating well after each addition. Each egg needs to be fully incorporated before you add the next one. The mixture should look smooth and creamy, not curdled or separated. I'm adding 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Good vanilla makes a difference in butter cakes, so use the real stuff if you can. Now for the dry ingredients. In a separate bowl, I'm whisking together 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of salt. The baking powder gives the cake lift, and the salt enhances all the other flavors. I'm also going to need 1 cup of sour cream. Sour cream adds moisture and tang to the cake, making it incredibly tender. Now I'm going to add the dry ingredients and the sour cream to the butter mixture in stages. I'm adding about 1/3 of the flour mixture, mixing just until combined, then adding half the sour cream, mixing again, then more flour, the rest of the sour cream, and finally the last of the flour. I'm mixing on low speed and being careful not to overmix. Overmixing develops gluten and makes the cake tough instead of tender. Mix just until you can't see any more dry flour, then stop. The batter is thick, creamy, and beautiful. This is going to make an excellent cake. But what makes it a sock-it-to-me cake is the cinnamon streusel filling that gets swirled through the middle. In a small bowl, I'm mixing together half a cup of packed brown sugar, half a cup of chopped pecans, and 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. This is the filling that's going to create that beautiful swirl of cinnamon sugar nut goodness running through the cake. Now here's how you assemble a sock-it-to-me cake. I'm spreading half of the cake batter into my prepared bundt pan, smoothing it into an even layer. Then I'm sprinkling the cinnamon pecan mixture over that layer of batter, keeping it away from the edges. You don't want it touching the sides of the pan or it might stick. Then I'm carefully spreading the remaining batter over the top of the filling, covering it completely. This cake is going into a 350-degree oven for 50 to 60 minutes. I'll know it's done when a toothpick inserted into the cake comes out clean or with just a few moist crumbs, and when the top is golden brown and springs back when lightly pressed. While that's baking, let me tell you about the weeks leading up to that 2003 bake sale, because Grandma approached this like a military campaign. She tested her sock-it-to-me cake recipe 3 times in the weeks before the bake sale, making small adjustments each time. The first batch, she decided had too much cinnamon in the filling. It was almost bitter. The second batch, she adjusted the cinnamon but thought the pecans weren't fresh enough, so she bought new pecans from a different store. The third test batch, she perfected the glaze, which she felt needed to be just the right consistency. Not too thick, not too thin, perfectly sweet but not cloying. My mama, my aunts, and I were her test tasters. We'd sit at the kitchen table and eat slice after slice of cake, while Grandma stood there with a notepad asking questions. Is the texture right? Is it moist enough? Is the cinnamon too strong? Not strong enough? Is the glaze sweet enough? Too sweet? Does the cake need more vanilla? More butter? We'd give our honest feedback and Grandma would make notes and adjust her recipe for the next test. By the third batch, the cake was absolutely perfect. We all agreed this cake was going to give Sister Thompson's coconut cake some serious competition. The night before the bake sale, Grandma baked 2 sock-it-to-me cakes, one for the sale and one for our family, because she said we'd earned it after all that taste testing. She baked them late at night when the kitchen was cool, when she could focus completely, when there were no distractions. She moved through her kitchen with complete concentration, measuring precisely, mixing carefully, checking the oven temperature multiple times. When the cakes came out of the oven, golden and perfect and smelling incredible, Grandma let them cool completely before glazing them. The glaze is what makes a sock-it-to-me cake shine, literally. It's a simple powdered sugar glaze, but it creates this beautiful glossy coating that catches the light and makes the cake look as good as it tastes. My cake has been baking for about 55 minutes, and it's done. I'm testing it with a toothpick, and it comes out clean. The cake is golden brown and has pulled away slightly from the sides of the pan, which are both good signs. I'm taking it out of the oven and letting it cool in the pan for about 15 minutes. This cooling time lets the cake set up so it won't fall apart when I remove it from the pan. After 15 minutes, I'm running a knife around the edges of the cake to make sure nothing is stuck. Then I'm placing a plate or cake stand on top of the bundt pan and flipping it over. I'm lifting the pan away carefully, and look at that. The cake released perfectly. It's beautiful, with all those ridges from the bundt pan creating a gorgeous pattern. Now I'm letting this cool completely before I glaze it. You never glaze a warm cake because the glaze will just soak in instead of creating that beautiful coating on top. The cake needs to be completely cool. While this cools, let me make the glaze. In a medium bowl, I'm whisking together 1.5 cups of powdered sugar with 3 tablespoons of milk and half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm whisking until it's completely smooth with no lumps. The glaze should be thick enough to coat the back of a spoon, but thin enough to drizzle and spread. If it's too thick, add a tiny bit more milk. If it's too thin, add more powdered sugar. The cake is completely cool now. I'm drizzling this glaze all over the top of the cake, letting it run down the sides and into all those beautiful ridges. I'm using all the glaze, making sure the whole cake gets a generous coating. The glaze is going to set up and create this beautiful, glossy finish that makes the cake look professional and bakery quality. Look at this cake. It's absolutely gorgeous. The glaze is shiny and perfect, the cake underneath is golden brown, and I can see hints of that cinnamon filling peeking through. This is a showstopper cake, the kind of cake that makes people say, wow, when they see it. The morning of the bake sale, Grandma got up early and put the finishing touches on her cake. She'd baked and glazed it the night before, but this morning she added one final detail. She sprinkled a few extra chopped pecans on top of the glaze while it was still sticky, just for visual interest and to hint at what was inside. She placed her cake on her prettiest cake stand, covered it with a clear cake dome so people could see how beautiful it was, and we drove to the church. The bake sale setup started at 8 a.m., and the sale opened to the public at 9. When we arrived at the fellowship hall, Sister Thompson was already there setting up her coconut cake. It was, as always, spectacular. 3 towering layers of white cake covered in fluffy coconut frosting and shredded coconut, sitting on a crystal cake stand. It looked like something from a magazine. Sister Thompson saw Grandma's "Sock It to Me" cake, and her eyes widened slightly. "Rose," she said, that's Grandma's name. "That is a beautiful cake. What is it?" "Sock It to Me cake," Grandma said, setting her cake on the table. "Butter cake with cinnamon pecan swirl and glaze." "Well," Sister Thompson said, and I swear I saw a flicker of concern cross her face. "It certainly looks delicious. You've really outdone yourself this year." "So have you," Grandma said graciously. "Your coconut cake looks amazing as always." Other women were setting up their baked goods around the fellowship hall. Sister Patterson had brought her famous pecan pie. Sister Williams had brought lemon pound cake. Sister Johnson had brought banana pudding. The room was filling with desserts, each one more tempting than the last. At 9 a.m., the doors opened and people flooded in. The bake sale was always well attended. People from the church, people from the neighborhood, people who'd heard about the sale and came specifically for the homemade baked goods. And here's what happened. People came in, looked around at all the options, and the crowd split. About half headed straight for Sister Thompson's coconut cake like they always did. But the other half headed for Grandma's table, drawn by the beautiful "Sock It to Me" cake sitting there gleaming under the fluorescent lights. "What kind of cake is that?" people kept asking. "Sock It to Me cake," Grandma would answer. "Butter cake with cinnamon pecan filling and glaze." "Can I taste it?" they'd ask. And Grandma had brought a sample plate with small slices for people to try before buying. And when people tasted it, their faces lit up. "Oh my goodness," they'd say. "This is incredible. How much for a slice? Actually, how much for the whole cake?" Within 30 minutes, Grandma's "Sock It to Me" cake was completely sold out. Every single slice gone, multiple people disappointed that they didn't get any. Sister Thompson's coconut cake sold out shortly after, as it always did. But this year, it had competition. Real competition. The first time in 10 years, Sister Thompson's cake wasn't the undisputed star of the bake sale. People were talking. "Did you try Sister Rose's "Sock It to Me" cake? It was amazing. Why haven't we seen that cake before? I hope she brings it again next year." After the bake sale ended and we were cleaning up, Sister Thompson came over to where Grandma was packing up her empty cake stand. For a moment, they just looked at each other. And then Sister Thompson smiled. "Rose," she said, "I have to be honest with you. I've been bringing that coconut cake for 10 years, and this is the first year I've had any real competition. Your cake was absolutely delicious. Everyone was talking about it. You should be very proud." Grandma smiled back. "Thank you, Eleanor," she said. Eleanor was Sister Thompson's first name. "Your coconut cake was wonderful as always. I had a slice and it was perfect. But yours was better this year," Sister Thompson said, and there was no bitterness in her voice, just honest acknowledgement. "You beat me, fair and square. That's a special cake you made." And here's what Grandma did next, which is the part of this story that matters most. She could have gloated, she could have been triumphant, could have taken this victory and run with it, could have made Sister Thompson feel bad about being dethroned after 10 years. But Grandma didn't do any of that. Instead, she put her arm around Sister Thompson's shoulders and said, "Eleanor, you've been inspiring me for 10 years with that coconut cake of yours. Every year I'd taste it and think, I want to make something that good. I want to bring something that makes people that happy. You made me want to be a better baker. That competition you didn't even know we were having, it made me better. So thank you." Sister Thompson's eyes got a little watery. "You know," she said, "I think maybe it's good that you brought that cake this year. I'd gotten comfortable with my coconut cake. I hadn't tried anything new in years because I knew the coconut cake would sell. But now I'm thinking maybe next year I should try something different, push myself a little, see what else I can do. You've inspired me too." And they hugged, right there in the fellowship hall. Two women who'd been in an unspoken competition for 10 years, both realizing that the competition had made them both better, had pushed them both to excellence, had created something beautiful rather than something divisive. From that year on, the bake sale had a friendly rivalry between Grandma's Sock It To Me cake and Sister Thompson's coconut cake. Sometimes Grandma's sold out first, sometimes Sister Thompson's did. Sometimes they both sold out at exactly the same time. Sister Thompson started bringing different cakes sometimes. A caramel cake one year, an Italian cream cake another year. And Grandma would bring different things too. The variety made the bake sale better. The friendly competition raised the level of everything. And they became real friends, not just church acquaintances. They'd trade recipes, taste test each other's baking experiments, give each other honest feedback. The competition that could have created animosity instead created friendship and mutual respect. Let me cut into this cake now that it's completely cooled and show you what the inside looks like. I'm slicing through with a sharp knife, and look at that. See that beautiful swirl of cinnamon and pecans running through the middle? See how moist and tender the cake is? This is what a perfect Sock It To Me cake should look like. I'm tasting a piece now. The cake itself is buttery, tender, with a fine crumb that just melts in your mouth. The cinnamon pecan filling adds sweetness and texture and warmth. The glaze on top adds extra sweetness and makes each bite feel special. This is absolutely delicious. This is the cake that finally beat Sister Thompson's coconut cake. What I learned from watching Grandma and Sister Thompson, from seeing how that competition played out and how they handled it, is that competition doesn't have to be ugly. Competition can be healthy, can be motivating, can make everyone involved better at what they do, but only if you approach it the right way. Grandma never badmouthed Sister Thompson's cake. She never tried to sabotage her or spread rumors or do anything underhanded. She just worked on making her own cake as good as it could possibly be. She let her baking speak for itself. And when she won, she was gracious. She thanked Sister Thompson for inspiring her. She acknowledged that the competition had made her better. And Sister Thompson, when she was beaten after 10 years of winning, didn't get bitter or resentful. She didn't quit bringing her coconut cake. She didn't spread negativity about Grandma. She acknowledged that Grandma had done something special, congratulated her genuinely, and then used that moment as motivation to push herself to try new things. That's how competition should work. It should make you better, not bitter. It should inspire you to excellence, not tear others down. It should create community, not division. And when you win, you should win with grace and humility. And when you lose, you should lose with dignity and use it as motivation to improve. Thank you for being here with me in Grandma's kitchen today. Thank you for letting me teach you how to make Sock It To Me cake, and for letting me share the story of the 10-year bake sale rivalry that ended in friendship and mutual respect. I hope you'll make this cake. I hope you'll bring it to your own bake sales or potlucks or family gatherings. And I hope you'll remember what Grandma and Sister Thompson taught me, that competition can be beautiful if you approach it with the right spirit, and that sometimes the best victories are the ones that lead to friendship instead of division. Next time in Grandma's Kitchen, we'll make another soul food classic, and I'll share another story about the lessons learned around the table and in the community. Until then, take care, Make some sock it to me cake. Compete with grace, win with humility, lose with dignity, and remember that the best rivalries are the ones that make everyone involved better. God bless you, family. I'll see you next time.